yourself and not with your screenwriting partner of several films, who's a novelist. And I was wondering if you could tell us about how this story came together, whether it was a long process, whether it was something you were working on in between films, and how the process of setting it to paper maybe differed than your earlier films.
Just forgot to listen to that question. Oh my God, it's been a long day. Okay, it's about making a movie. Say it again. About writing. About working. Oh, not working. Writing the script.
Yes.
Okay. What do you say about that? Yeah. Okay. No. Sorry. I wrote the script. Oh, okay, I'll say this. Here's my answer. I had a collection for a while, a long time, of art heist kind of stories. And I was cruising around the interweb looking at art heist stuff in small towns one day, and I found it was the 50th anniversary for some high school girls that got caught up in a heist in Worcester, Massachusetts. They were like doing a homework assignment, and they went in to the museum and got entangled with these rascals that were stealing some paintings, and that was a jumping off point. And then what's the question? Okay.
Yeah. You also wrote this one by yourself instead of a screenwriting partner, and was there anything about this process of setting it down that was different or that you found challenging?
Yeah, John and I have done quite a few films together. I mean, I did a couple other screenplays. Well, one was based on these Myron Malloy stories, and one a million years ago by myself. So it was, I didn't have anyone to have coffee with and hash it out. So that, and when I work with John, I usually am not the person that starts with a blank page. So that was really different. But it was interesting. I found it interesting. It was, I liked it. I mean, it was good. I got stuck in the weeds at one point, and had to have John look at it and be like, "Ooh, I'm really in the weeds. What? You see something, and you just like get rid of this and this and this." So that was helpful. But yeah, I liked it. It's a totally different experience, and it doesn't involve like coffee and pie with your friend all the time, where John does, which are things I like. So.
Something that really struck me about the movie is the shifting tonality and the way it never. I suppose I was waiting for a moment of release, like in showing up with the pigeon in the gallery, and it feels so, everything is back where it's supposed to be, and that this one kept devolving, and he kept getting worse. I'm just wondering how you went about balancing that tonality and what you were looking for in the process of fleshing out these characters.
I would say the biggest challenge of this film, now that you mention it, is that there were so many different tones and so many different types of actors, and that was my biggest fear making the film. It was like, when I'd be like watching the cops in the living room, like, is this going to be in the same movie? When I'd be watching Gabby Hoffman, I'm like, can this be the same movie? I guess so. And so there was a lot of different sort of tones and styles for Josh to navigate too. Just sort of, and then I figured, I knew when I was writing it that I was like, wow, there's just a lot of different tones. And then I was just like, well, I guess I'll just find out, like that'll be the thing. I don't know if it works or not until I'm done. So that was, but it was interesting. But yeah, I guess there's not really, there's not a release of the bird moment. True.
Speaking of Josh O'Connor, I think his performance really is so through line through the film, and he's a British actor. This is an American period piece, and I'm wondering how you went about preparing him for this role, and if you were pulling specific references for him, or how you got him into this time and place.
He's really good with accents, and he works with a voice coach in London, but it happens that Bill Camp this is supposed to be Framingham, Massachusetts, and Bill Camp lives right in that area. So he was like, and there were a few people on our crew that were from Worcester, and who all, said the first thing you do when you leave Worcester is try to lose that accent. But yeah, I sent him, I wanted him with my friend Dawn Sutter, who's the music supervisor. She made got some radio clips from the area in Massachusetts from the period, so we could just not just send him tunes that would be on the radio, but you could also hear the DJ. And then we made him some playlists of what might be in his record collection. And then I sent him some Didion essays, and but also I sent him, there were two documentaries that were kind of important. One was this couple, Joel DeMott and Jeff Prines, and Joel DeMott just passed away about a month ago, and fantastic documentary filmmaker, and they were partners and made many films together, but in early 70s, they were both at MIT, and I think Pennebaker was there also, and Richard Leacock, and they each made these home movies on 16 millimeter, and one of them is one of my favorite all-time films, and it's called The Plaint of Steve Prines, as told from his brother Jeff. And he basically filmed his brother moving out of his parents' house. And that was a really great interior look at a family in that region, middle class, educated family, sons moving out, just really texturally. And Hope and Bill Camp got really into it. And the costume, they're fashioned completely after the parents in this. Even the corn breaking is actually, Hope was I thought I'd seen that film a million times, but Hope kept finding things in it that I didn't even notice, but she takes the bigger half of the corn. She takes the bigger half. But the other film, Joel DeMott's film was Massachusetts family just having Thanksgiving. And so, hers doesn't have any, hers is silent, and it's just family eating and spending the day together, hungover from turkey kind of things. And those films help a lot, I think, just as far as region and time.
And I was hoping we could also speak about the art of Arthur Dove, who is sort of the central artist of the Heist-ish that they try to pull off in film. And if you could speak about how you encountered Arthur Dove's work, and if you knew it was always going to play a central role in a film, in this film.
Very self-conscious, because I think Arthur Dove's daughter's here tonight. Tony, are you here somewhere? Hey, nice to meet you. I love Arthur Dove. And so when I was first working on the script, I just put Arthur Dove in as a kind of placeholder. And then over time, I tried a bunch of different stuff, portraits weren't right. I knew I wanted to be an American artist. Landscapes weren't right. And then I found a picture of opening, I think from the year 1970, and it's just one shot, and Dove's paintings are in the gallery. And weirdly, the woman smoking in her bell bottoms in the foreground looks so much like me, it's ridiculous. So to the point I confused my sisters. I sent it to my sister, and they're like, "Where'd you get the what? You're too old to look like that now, but that doesn't look like you. What's the story?" So I felt like, I really can. It just kept coming back to being the Dove paintings, and that finding this photo was really helpful. Just to know, this show existed, and we kind of, it helped in a lot of ways. But, so, and then in a practical matter, I knew, this gentleman, Alex Mackay, who works at the Phillips Collection, who I think houses, sorry, am I saying anything? I'll just wave your head. Yeah. They house the biggest collection of doves. And so, in a practical sense, it was just like a way to get started. I knew someone I could have a conversation with to say, you know, what do I do? How do I do this? So, anyway, then Dove became this like, I mean, when they built the museum in this little warehouse, and at the same time as the museum was being built, the artists were recreating the doves, and the frame maker was making the frames, and so then the carpenters and the worker guys all were like, whose paintings are they? You know what? It was cool. Like everyone got into Dove while we were making the film in our little world. So yeah.
That's really beautiful. I think we can take one question from the audience.
Tony.
We've got a hand down here in the hat.
There's only one question from the audience, so. It's you, okay.
Can you talk about the framing and composition? Almost all the shots were shot at oblique angles, but then a couple were shot straight on, like when he's climbing up the ladder. Like, was that an intentional move?
Who told me this? Someone told me that, who could have told, I think Ed Lockman told me this, the cinematographer, that Eggleston told them that he would like, and it's not like I have this in mind or anything, but just interesting. Way to not answer your one question. That Eggleston would like set his frame and then just turn the camera a little bit from what he had. That's how he would ultimately complete. Set the perfect frame and then move the camera. But I don't know. It's I mean, don't you want to talk about the jazz? And Chad Taylor. I mean, shots are. I mean, it's kind of the hardest part and the most interesting part, I think, of filmmaking is kind of figuring out how your shots are going to go together and the sequences and what they build into. But we do. I mean, some of my very smart filmmaker friends, like Todd Haynes would say, there are no rules. He's always saying there's no rules. But I actually really like rules, and I have a lot of rules, and how we move the camera. And I guess I just need some guardrails or boundaries, or for whatever reason, I like rules, and I like to set up rules for us of ways we'll move the camera, won't move the camera. And if we vary from that, there is a discussion, and we did vary from it sometimes, but more in like the long pans that like sometimes they didn't just go like that there was movement in them going down, like that would be a 40-minute conversation. Can you do that? I mean, Chris Blofeld, who shot the film, we've made a lot of films together, and we're and the collaboration with Chris is like one of the greatest things in life for me. And but it's like it's so hard to explain because it's such an ongoing conversation because we've made so many films together and we're friends, and it's just it's it's like process. It's hard to sort of sum up. But mostly you're trying to like serve the moment you're in, generally speaking. I mean, that's the idea, to not be thinking about, hopefully you're thinking about what's happening in front of the frame and not behind the frame too much, even though we do this, But anyway, I really want to thank Movie and thank you so much. And I love the Walter Reed Theater forever, so it's really a thrill to have a movie play here. Thanks a lot for coming.